What's up, everybody? It is the premiere episode of Delicious as Fuck. I am your host, a chef by trade and a mark by choice. I am the Will Gray, and I am chilling here on a Tuesday night. It's exciting. There's a lot coming on. This is a moment for me. I've got to catch my breath and chill out. Uh, it's a solo podcast. This is a first for me. I haven't done a whole lot of these, so I'm curious how this goes. I see all of you in the chat. What's up, Scowls? What's up, Al? What's up, Jax is here. What's good, everybody? I'm glad y'all are here. I'm gonna catch my breath, compose myself, and get ready to go. So, delicious as fuck. When you think about me, there's two things that I talk a lot about. I talk a lot about food and I talk a lot about wrestling. Chef by trade and mark by choice. It's been my entire life. It's more than a gimmick. I spent 17 years in the kitchen. If you've listened to Botch Spots and Chair Shots, you've heard me say it more than enough that it was my life. It's what I did all the way up until I got sick. So my point of what I want to do here is what Delicious as Fuck is going to be kind of a two-part thing. Not necessarily two parts in a sense that the episodes are going to be segmented or anything like that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a very kitchen confidential approach to my story in the kitchen, kind of my origin story, who I was as a chef, how I cooked, why I cook the way I do, how I got there, who I took, what's the word for it? Inspiration. Fuck, I do this for a living. Who I took inspiration from, all of the things that went into who I was as a chef. It's going to be that. It's going to be mixed with me cooking. I've got this ridiculous video we're going to watch, and I'm going to give you some commentary. I'll kind of get there in a second. Then I'm also going to do something that I've been thinking about for a long time. In the food world, the food critic, as it were, there seems to be a love. It's not even a love affair. It's like the ability and want to be in like a good old boys club. You guys know what a good old boys club? Does that make sense if I were to say that? Do you follow me what I mean? I'm gonna speak personally for a minute about here in Nashville specifically. Okay, so in Nashville's food scene, there seems to be a good old boys club of who you are, who you've worked for, or who you're friends with. And this is me kind of putting the Nashville food scene on blast. I'm gonna clip my manifesto here and I'm gonna post it on my Instagram for all my chef friends to see. I think it's fair for them to know that I'm coming for you. For the last few years in the Nashville culinary field, there's been a loss of a backbone. There's no longing. When you eat food, you shouldn't eat. You eat for nutrients when you're at home. When you're eating because you're going to the gym, you're eating for fuel. When you go out to a restaurant, you don't go out to a restaurant to eat because you want to eat the food. You go out to the restaurant because you want to have a longing for the food. You want the chef to give you an experience when you eat that food. I want to make sure that the culinary world gets that backbone back. I'm tired of there being no backbone in the culinary arts. So again, I'm putting Nashville on blast because right now I'm going to be completely blunt. Wrestling Will is a very different person than Chef Will. Since I got sick and left the city, there's been a ton of people who, I'm just going to call it what it is. Like anybody who had an Instagram and an iPhone thought they were a chef. Everybody who watched a little bit of Food Network during the pandemic thought they were a chef. Bane from Batman about you weren't born into darkness, you was a man of blah, blah, blah. That's kind of how I feel about it. And I know that makes me sound hipster as fuck, but that's not really the point of it. The point of the matter is that in Nashville, this good old boys club and the way they run their food scene has led you to a point where it's kind of like a bunch of princesses and prissy little people like pussyfooting around, like sucking dick and eating queso. And I don't understand it because they're fucked. Because now there's somebody who knows how to cook and is going to be coming into the restaurants and is going to be grading them. Like, you can call me whatever the fuck you want about it. Like, if you're watching me now and you're listening to me talk, I know a lot about wrestling. There's no question about that. I'm not tooting my own horn. The point that I'm going to get across with this podcast about food is I've forgotten more about the culinary arts than I'll learn about wrestling in the rest of my life. I'm going to critique food like Dave Meltzer did wrestling in the 1980s. It's going to matter again. It's not just going to be a circle jerk of getting your friends over. I'm here to make sure shit happens right. But the good news about that is all of my friends are genuinely amazing chefs. So that kind of works out in my favor. It doesn't really bother me. A lot of the writers right now in the food scene, like their whole thing is just putting their friends over. That's not who I am. That's not what I'm going to do. 2020, the world shut down because of COVID. And it's kind of like being the Ents. Like, you remember the guys from Lord of the Rings, the trees? I'm not on anybody's side because nobody's not on my side, right? Like, that's kind of how I'm going to approach it. That's how I'm going to review food. Is like, I left the culinary arts when I got sick. I was at the top of my game. I was managing 3 restaurants. Now, when I look at it, I'm going to give it my one all. I'm going to do it. My reviews, I'm going to put over great chefs in my reviews. That's all I'm going to do. But also, I'm going to make sure that I bury the fuck out of shitty chefs. That's just the way it's going to be. I'm the love child of Anthony Bourdain and Hunter S. Thompson. So, like, my knives are super sharp and my pen's just as sharp. So, like, every chef in the Southeast, you're pretty much put on fucking notice because I'm going to start eating a lot. And it's going to be a lot of fun. So that's kind of my manifesto. Since I haven't really had a chance to review anything or talk about food this week, I had some sushi the other night that was really good. Before I dive into this version, kind of remind everybody, hit the like, follow button, hit the subscribe button. If you're listening on Twitter, YouTube, anywhere like that, make sure you follow us. Make sure you follow The Will Gray. Make sure you follow Scowls and Shadow and Jamie and Jax. Make sure you follow all the Rivet City Radio crew. Give us all a follow while you're there. I'm going to take a drink of a Dr. Pepper because talking by myself is, it's tough. So how's everybody going tonight? How's your evening? We're going to need you to show me how to cook. I'm about to show like some cooking. So now, as it were, my favorite food on the planet. First and foremost, anybody who didn't see it, like, check out this dope ass graphic. Bada bing, bada boom. Look at this. Boom. That's a dope ass logo. Thank you, boss bitch. She's here on the ones and twos producing, so I have to do as little as possible. So delicious as fuck. One side of this is going to be kind of, I'm going to talk about like where I came from as a chef, like my origin story in a lot of ways, the things that I did, the way that I did them, the why I do them, the way I do them. And I'm not going to pull any punches with it tonight. We're going to start with one. It's fried chicken. I used a clever name for it. I said, I'm going to call it my Yardbird Suite, right? Like, that's clever. Yardbird, chickens, fried chicken. Being from Nashville, it's one of those things like Nashville hot chicken. I've tweeted it. I put it on my Instagram. I've said, I'm from Nashville. So if I can't fry chicken, then what the fuck is all this about? Like, what's the whole point of it? So, kind of getting at the start of it, at a very young age, I was born and raised into a lower middle class, lower income family. single mom, 2 sisters, spent a whole lot of time with my grandmothers, my granddad. So there was a lot of time kind of moving around quite a bit. Throughout my life, Nashville hot chicken is the shit. We're going to get to that in a minute once we get rolling into this. There were 3 people in my life that really like affected my food. My mom, my grandfather, and my grandmother, my granny. Granny's the main focus of this because the way she fries chicken is probably like 75% of the way I fry chicken. This is a good point to remind you guys that as I get going into my Yardbird Suite, all the recipes that I'm covering tonight are going to be available on Patreon for $1. So you go to our Patreon at Rivet City Radio, you donate $1 a month to the cause, help keep the lights on, and you'll get access to my videos, my recipes, and all the recipe videos for everything we're going to go over. Fucking primo. $1 a month. The ringside crew is $5 a month. It's less than a cup of coffee. I say it all the time. It's worth the money. So my grandmother, she does a very traditional Southern fried chicken when she cooks. And when I say that, it's Crisco, it's flour, it's buttermilk, it's seasoning, like 10 minutes turn, 10 more minutes, you're done. Like super traditional by the book. So when I was a kid, that's all I had ever seen was nothing but just traditional fried chicken. My grandmother was one of those people where she would keep a mason jar of bacon fat, like on the side of the stove. So like still to this day, coffee mug right next to the stove. Every time I pull bacon out, I pour it in there. Small like things like that I still do to this day because of my grandmother, because of coming up, watching her cook, being able to do that. So absorbing all of that, I had a foundation. I had the basics of being able to cook, but I wouldn't say at all that I wouldn't say necessarily that I was a good cook. But when I got to college, the fried chicken journey really took off. I'm going to try to do this as easily as possible because some of my stories are incriminating of me and some of my stories are incriminating of the restaurants. So I'm going to figure out ways to hide the names a little bit. So we're going to start in college. We're in 2004 and we're going to call this place CS. All right. When I was working there, it was a place that specialized in good Southern fried chicken. When I accepted the job, me and my buddy Matt, we both took the jobs at the same time. When we accepted the jobs, to put it in perspective about what CS was about, it was a fried chicken place that did Southern comforts. They were doing coleslaw. They were doing potato salad. They were doing fried chicken. They were doing fried whitefish. They were doing Nashville hot chicken. And then they had a various degrees of hotness and different dry rubs that the owner, KP, would make at home. He would do all of his secret dry rubs at house. He had one that was called Smack Ya Mama. Fucking banging. Delicious. Without, like this was the thing. I was, to put it eloquently, I was the only melanin deficient employee, I think is the best way to put it. So I was able to, I learned a very different type of fried chicken than what I had been raised than what my granny cooked. Okay. So I was able to take that. That was my first experience into early management. That was my first attempt into menu engineering and my attempt into like being able to build menu items and costing. And I was learning things and adjusting and bouncing, and I was going back and forth. It was a learning experience, to say the least. But the things I started to learn there, I was able to start learning things like processing chicken, and like I was learning how to break whole chickens down and the technique that I used. And it was really my first exposure into learning how to make hot chicken. When we get to the video, I'll kind of break down a little bit better of what hot chicken is. I worked for another place that it was named, we'll call it the Blue Emerald Restaurant. It was located just south of Nashville. When I worked there, we started doing a smoked chicken. What we would do is we would smoke the chicken and then we would let it chill and then we would buttermilk bread it, toss it in the flour, and we would deep fry it after it was fried. So it was my first soiree into kind of like not just fried chicken, but smoking it first. Then when I got the job at the Hutton Hotel, I did my first soirees into, I just said the name of the fucking hotel. I didn't even try to hide that one. I worked with Chris Anderson. He was a 3 Michelin starred chef, a 2 Michelin star chef in his name. He worked for a couple places in the Chicagoland area. Kayfabe, baby, keep it kayfabe. When I worked with him, I had a chance to work and do some molecular gastronomy. We were breaking down and doing cool stuff with like hydrocolloids and stuff like that. So I'm not going to sit here. I'm not going to bore you guys too much longer. I got into sous vide chicken. Sous vide fried chicken was super cool because I got a picture of that right here. Sous vide fried chicken was cool because what I did there was I took the immersion circulator and I would vacuum seal the chicken in pickle juice. And I would allow the chicken to cook in pickle juice and buttermilk at a really low temp. And it would finish cooking it almost like braising it. And then you would chill it. And then you would roll it in buttermilk again and then bread it in flour and deep fry the whole leg quarter that way. And that was real loud. You would roll it in flour and fry it, and then it would have it that way. And sorry. And then you would deep fry it anyways after it would come out of the sous vide. So looking through that, I went on in a couple more places, did a little bit more fine dining, but the whole point of it is fried chicken kind of became my life. So one of the things I wanted to do in this episode was, we're going to watch a video class. One of the things that I did over the weekend was I shot it's fucking a lot. It was like 3 hours worth of footage. We mixed it down. It's about a little over 20 minutes long. But what I did was I decided I wanted to take a process as easy as fried chicken. And I want to take a process as easy as fried chicken. And I want to start at the very beginning. And I'm going to break down a chicken. I'm going to explain to you ways of doing things like making stock. I'm going to talk to you about doing things like doing fried chicken, doing Nashville hot chicken. We're going to make turnip greens or collard greens. So there's a couple different things we're going to do in this video. But the most important thing is what I'm going to do is I want to show you how to cook it from beginning to end using all the entire chicken. But I also want to show you how to do it with things that you have in just your kitchen. Like this isn't going to be a 3 Michelin star meal. Don't at me about my fucking knife cuts. If you want to challenge me, we can go at it. Like, I'm not afraid of that. Like, if you really want to come at me about my knife cuts, tag that dude that was fucking trolling, Sad Corbin, the fucking chef reacts. I don't give a fuck. I'll cook him under the table. Tag him. Let him know that. If he wants to step up, I'll step up. I don't give a fuck where. We can donate it to charity. I don't give no fucks. I'll cook him under the table. But so don't at me about my fucking knife skills. If you want to say something, come say it. But what we're going to do is we're going to dive into my Yardbird Suite. I want to cut off now. Fuck yeah, dude. So this is going to be awesome because now I get to shut up for a little bit and let y'all watch the movie. So share, play. So we're going to start with a chicken, and I spanked it. The nice thing to remember about when you're breaking down chicken is God gave you the joints for a reason. And when I say joints, I'm not talking about like rolling up a doobie joint. I mean, the chicken itself naturally has joints. So if you see the way I'm working it, I'm naturally dislocating those joints so I can just slide. I'm using a 3-inch paring knife here. So like I'm able to pop it out of joint and run my knife around the seam that like the good Lord naturally gave us. And what it does is it allows it to just kind of like cut off nice and easy. It's almost like it was supposed to do it that way. When you get into the bottom half of the bird, you're looking at your leg quarters, and your leg quarters traditionally have 2 pieces of meat in them. So you're going to have to do the same thing, but it's real simple because you just pop that hip joint out and you're going to cut along the bone. like Gordon Ramsay would have some fucking clever thing to say about, oh, you got to do the British stuff. But no, man, fuck you. Like, pop the hip joint out, like, throw it over, roll it over, double check your cuts. There's this membrane that runs along the hip. It's not really a tendon. It's called like silver skin. It's almost like it, not a tendon really, but sort of. Right there, you saw me finish popping that joint out. That gives you your 2 leg quarters. You saw me cut the wings off. What I'm going to do here, though, instead of cutting the breast off I'm cutting the breast off the bone for 2 reasons. Because we're going to make stock. And before we make stock, what I want to do is I want to like make sure that I get a good cut of breast off that we're still going to be able to fry. But I don't want to cut the entire bone out, because when you roast the bones off to make your broth, like, you just want to make sure that you have enough bone left to properly do it. So what I did here is I just cut simple boneless breast with the skin on, and I just cut it down. When you're cutting, take your knife along that backbone, and you can see that silver skin I was talking about, that tendon that runs down the back side of it. If you hit it and you run your blade, it's like an easy 45-degree angle. You'll catch it that way, and you'll be able to slide right down. You'll see the 2 chicken tenders come out right there off of each boob. I'm throwing them over to the side because I'm like, fuck yeah, chicken tendies. When you're breaking down your leg quarters, it's not quite as easy because it's not a ball and socket joint. I'm not a fucking anatomical teacher or whatever the fuck. I'm a goddamn chef, so I don't really know what it's called. But like, what you're going to do is kind of the same thing. You want to break that. You want to pop that bone out, take your paring knife, slide it around, cut it, keep fucking popping, get frustrated. I'm cussing probably right here, just assuming. I'm probably like, God damn it, you look like an idiot. I finally get it to pop out. Like, hell yeah, dude. Cut it, clean it. Look at that pretty little fucking chicken leg. Good looking little thigh. A lot of people don't realize that when you break down chicken this way, like, you end up with 8 pieces. That's why when you get a fucking bucket of 8 pieces of chicken, it's because it's one whole goddamn chicken. You'd be amazed how many people don't know that. We're pissing off everybody in PETA right now. The vegans are like, what the fuck is this? There's a good cut there because I got real mad at that one. But you can look at it. That's your 8 pieces, okay? So we got 2 thighs, 2 legs, 2 breasts, 2 wings. This is me organizing it because I thought it would look cooler on camera. I learned so much about shooting for this that I'm not going to do the next time I do it. And there's your carcass. Look at that fucking transition, guys. God damn it, that was awesome. Chicken flour. What I'm doing here is, that's like 2 pounds of chicken, or 2 pounds of flour. It's not 2 pounds of chicken. It's like 5 pounds of chicken. Flour's going to have a whole lot of seasoning. So I hope a chicken has 2 breasts. Most of them do. It's not, what was it? Science. What was it? Mad Science, where the lady had 3 boobies. The Colonel uses 11 herbs and spices. I have 13, I think. That's 3, 4. Count them with me. I think there's 13 in mine. 5. What's up, Pew? Thanks for stopping by. We're making fried chicken. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7. That's 7, 8. So the pepper is 8. That's 9. If you want the recipes, make sure you go. There's going to be a Patreon sub for this. It's $1 a month. You'll get all of my recipes that I use. I think that was 12. I think this is 13. I was like, fuck this. I don't care. As long as it's close to a teaspoon, I'm cool. Because I was like doing the math in my head and I was running my ratios, and I got a big ass whisk that matches the whisk on my fucking arm, guys. Look, where'd it go? Right there. Look, see, it's the same whisk as the one on my arm. Like, that's pretty cool, right? I did that on purpose, just for the record. I planned that. So the key point about this is, when you fry chicken, make sure you season the fuck out of your flour. You're never going to go wrong not adding enough flour. That's not something you have to worry about. Like, when you think, look, another fucking smooth ass transition. 2 things about breading chicken. My sister's in the chat. My sister can attest for this. When you're breading chicken, have a wet hand and have a dry hand. Don't try to do both with both. You're going to make a fucking mess. It's going to be unbearable. So always use a wet hand and always use a dry hand. Don't try to do one or the other. Like, see, look, wet goes into the dry, and then my dry hand covers it. That right there, you'd be amazed, is like chicken 101, like for reals. I'm going to fast forward a little bit. Ooh, get through that chicken. So ultimately, like, yeah, we're going to get through. You're going to bread the rest of the chicken. And then once you get it done, what I do is I put mine back in the fridge. It's going to go in the fridge. It's going to rest. You're going to let it start dehydrating some. I usually try to let it set as long as possible. I make little happy beds for it. Then I put it in there. Then I recover it in flour. You want to make sure that there's no wet parts of the buttermilk showing. That way it'll absorb that flour and kind of start dehydrating into the mix. Bingo. You'll end up with that thick mess. Fucking baller transition. Different filter on this one. I don't think I like this filter as much. I don't remember what we're prepping here. We're obviously cutting onions. It's probably collard greens, I would assume. But some of the things to remember is keep your veggies. You always want to keep your veggies because when you take your veggies clean, greens or pickles, it'll be greens or pickles. Yeah. Pretty sure this is the greens. This is the stock. That's what this is. Okay. So right now what we're doing is we're doing a rough chop on some onions for the stock. And it's a really easy dice. Clean it, cut it, core it, go across. Do that little fucking, like, I don't know what it's called. I didn't go to culinary school. Like the little grip, roll your things. And like, so you don't cut your fucking fingers off. Like, do something like that. Yeah, this is definitely for the stock because I'm cutting up some mirepoix. Equal parts onions and celery. When you do your mirepoix, always leave off a little bit of your carrot. You don't want to put too much carrot in because carrots are naturally sweet. Since you're straining your stock, it doesn't matter if you leave the celery greens on, that's fine. Shove that shit off to the side. Remember, you're on camera, so you got to kind of organize your cutting board. Magic, I fucking left out peeling. Like, I just magically just had peeled carrots. I cut out the part where I was peeling them. I didn't want to make you assholes have to watch that. Cut your tips off because they'll make your fucking stock taste like dirt if you don't wash them. So if you wash them and they're still like questionable, cut your tips off so you don't have to worry about it. I flipped the camera off so that way Zach would know to stop filming. He would know to cut it. And so you take your stock, and what we're going to do is we're going to take that mirepoix and we're going to take the chicken carcass. Clean your tips. That's right. Always make sure you clean your tips. We're going to take that chicken carcass and all that mirepoix we just cut up, and we're going to put it on a sheet tray. It's going to go into the oven at like 375. You're going to drizzle it with olive oil. You're going to season it with salt and pepper. And I really don't like the filters that I used. I'm definitely changing my filters next time. I'm not approved of this. I should have looked better at this. They looked cooler in fucking Premiere Pro. I have a clean tip. I have a very clean tip, Jack. You're absolutely right. So right here, what I'm doing is I'm seasoning everything up, finishing it off with like a top season. Seasoned everything beforehand a little bit. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this chicken and all these veggies. I'm going to throw it in the oven at 375. I want to roast that bitch off. Honestly, man, like, make sure you season it good. Like, so many people forget to fucking season their food. Like, you'd be amazed how ridiculous that is. So this is me. Look how cute I am. Again, with the fucking filter, I'm not a big fan of it. The food looks good. You pull that big carcass off. It's got good color, nice and steamy. You can see that it started to cook. Good color and caramelization on your stock. Again, this isn't by the book. You know, I'm not going to put a sachet of herbs and shit in it. I'm not going to do all of that. If you want me to get technical, I will. But what I was thinking was a lot of people have carrots, onion, and celery at their fucking house. So I was like, if you buy a whole chicken to fry, like, take that carcass and make some easy chicken broth with it, because this is going to be super easy. Make your ramen. Like, you make rice. Like, take this. This is going to, I think it made about half a gallon, maybe a little bit closer, maybe almost a gallon, maybe a little bit less, half a gallon-ish. But like, whatever the case is, this is just some good old home cooking. You're absolutely right, dude. Like, this is shit. You can see the greens on the pot. I filmed. This is obviously not in order as the way I cooked it when I filmed the other day. But once you get that rolling, you just get your stock cooking and it just simmers for a couple hours. There's not a whole lot to do with it. You can skim it and get the foam off. You can clarify it. Like there's a lot of techniques and tricks. If y'all really want me to do an episode on doing like a good traditional stock, I can. It's not really something that I'm like, I don't personally fuck with it. If I want to get really good stock that's made, I'll buy or I'll make my own. But if like it's just one of those things. It depends on how much. We watched our granny make banging fried chicken. We did. That's where I got a lot of how I make my chicken, is watching granny do it. Same thing here. This is definitely for the collard greens. What I'm going to do with the collard greens is a super traditional way as well. It's going to be a big onion. It's going to be a big tomato. It's going to be a red pepper. And when you cut that pepper, look at that grip. That's why I freeze my veggie scraps to make stock later. See, Des gets it. Like, it's really important. Like, a lot of people don't realize how easy it is. You can take these scraps and make your stock. Look how fucking smooth that was. You wish you could cut peppers like that. So I'll take it and I'll trim it up. Some of these peppers, like, this is weird season for them. You can slice it, get a real good rough dice on it. Bam, bam, bam. Fuck you, Emerald Lagasse. Big chunks of pepper. Because once again, this is going to go in your greens. So it's not like a super big amount, because I was only cooking like 2 bunch. Need a chicken and dumpling recipe, boss man. I can definitely hook you up with a good chicken and dumplings recipe. $1 if you subscribe to Patreon. No, I'm just kidding, Jimmy. I'll give you a chicken and dumplings. Also, if you don't have a really sharp knife, my knife's pretty fucking sharp, and I still had trouble cutting this ripe tomato. So if you have trouble with it, get a bread knife, something with a serrated edge on it. Like, it'll make it a lot easier to manage. So don't feel like you have to hack at the tomato with it. Mine was sharp enough. I just did a fucking rough dice on it like I would an onion. You know, a lot of the same cuts, because that's all I wanted. I wanted all my veggies to be roughly the same size. Because when you get ready to put them in the pot, I'll explain why. Because it's not all going to cook at the same time, but you want to par cook everything anyways, because you're going to make a mud. This is me ripping the collard greens. This is cool. When you make a turnip green mud, it's where you take your veggies and you fucking roast them down in your bacon fat, and then you add your molasses and your apple cider vinegar and your crushed red pepper and all your garlic and your salts and all your seasonings, and it becomes this like gloopy mess in the bottom of your pan. And then you put your collards on top and fill it with chicken stock. And I call that it's my collards mud is what I call it. But that's ultimately, this is the mise en place for it, your veggies. And then you rip your collards. I pre-wash my collards before I rip them. Is it kind of like a roux? It's a roux is butter and flour, Tommy. That's a great question. When you cook butter, when you add the flour to it, it cooks the glutens out of the flour, and it makes it a thickening agent. Ultimately, that's all there is to it. That's what you can call it. But a roux is a thickening agent. This is like all the concentrated flavors that I put into my collard greens, like all cooked down and reduced together. So it's like, look at those big thick ass pieces of bacon. That's some good ass bacon too. The collard greens were fucking bomb. But I'm cutting big lardons. I'm taking this big thick cut applewood bacon, cutting big lardons out of it. This is I think the packet was 1.5 pounds, like 26 or 28 ounces. So it was 1.5 pounds, I think, a little more than 1.5 pounds. Good bacon, good thick cut. You can use whatever the fucking pork you wanted. Sometimes I use smoked jows. Sometimes I'll use like ribs. Fuck you, bacon. Stay on the cutting board. Like sometimes I'll use whatever I have. You can use country ham if you like it a little bit salty, or if you use country ham, remember, don't add too much. Don't add too much. Thank you for the subscription, sister. Don't add too much salt. Look, a bunch of bacon in a pan. You're going to start rendering a roux is useless to make a good mac and cheese sauce. A roux is useless to make a good mac and cheese sauce. Agree to disagree, my friend. I think you need a roux to make a good mac and cheese sauce, but it also depends on if you make a baked mac and cheese or not. So I'm assuming from New York, I bet you're probably not baking your mac and cheese. So a roux would be pointless in your mac and cheese. It just all depends on what kind of mac and cheese you make. We don't yuck any yums around here. I make a baked mac and cheese, so mine needs a roux. What's up, Dad Hat? Thanks for stopping by, bud. We're draining off some bacon. We just got done rendering it off. This is where we take our veggies. We're going to dump our veggies in. And what we're going to do is we're going to start sauteing that shit. Make sure you don't drip your bacon fat all over the place. I started to make a mess, so I put it in a bowl. You just sit there, and what you do is you want to start tendering. You want to start sweating all your shit down. I didn't say useless. He said usually. Oh, I thought he said useless in a mac and cheese. Sorry, I misread your comment, Scouts. My bad. Usually, a roux is usually used to make a good mac and cheese. Oh, I thought she said useless in a good mac and cheese recipe. I was like, oh shit. So you're just gonna cook your shit down. I'm here for you to make me fatter, dude. That's it. That was a big exhale. That was a big old puff of smoke. Take a big old dab right before I finish. So you cook your mud down, your apple cider vinegar, your molasses. You add your turnip greens, your chicken stock. You start to cook all that. This is the Crisco. What I have there is a big fucking cast iron Dutch oven. Okay. And what I'm using to cook this in is 100% fucking Crisco. It's just nothing but lard. It's not, lard is a mix of hydrogenated like fats, like vegetable oils and stuff mixed with animal fat. It's nothing but high cholesterol and deliciousness. So what I'm doing is just taking this lard, putting it on your thing. The key to remember here more than anything is once you're frying chicken, the oil is super fucking crucial. Like, because if your oil gets too hot, it'll burn. If your oil's too cold, it'll make your chicken soggy. So you can't really have any of that. So you have to keep a really fucking close eye on it. This is 100% pickles. One of the key elements about Nashville hot chicken is pickles. If you go to Prince's, no free shout outs, like the original hot chicken place, they do white bread, fried chicken tossed in whatever seasoning you want, and you get fresh dill pickles. And so for my hot chicken, I always make like a really easy pickle for mine. And what this is, these are just regular straight up fucking ass cucumbers. Nothing special. Nothing. I don't know what Zach was doing with the light there. That was weird. Nothing special, nothing unique. They're just regular straight up fucking cucumbers. You cut them to about a 1/4 inch thick, get them all together. The light's still going crazy. What the fuck, Zach? So what I'm going to do, you just cut them. Like, fuck, it's a cucumber. You know what a pickle looks like. I'm not going to sit here and fucking describe it to you. You slice your goddamn cucumbers. Cut the ends of your onions off because fuck it. Nobody wants to eat the hairy part. Take the outside skin off for the same reason. If you eat the hairy part of your onions, you're a goddamn rabbit. That's just all there is to it. Take the hairy part of your onion off. Save it for your compost or your hippie, whatever. But like, yeah. This is a good, even like a thicker dice than what I would have done in like the collards or whatever. And again, don't at me about my knife skills. There's a big chunk that's about to show up out of nowhere that I'm real pissed about because I know somebody's going to be like, oh, Will, you forgot to cut that piece. Yeah, go fuck yourself. So like make sure good, even dice. It doesn't have to be a big deal. Like, watch, here it comes. Ready? Goddamn kid, did you just forget to cut that piece? Look at that. I just leave it there for you to look at. Everybody shame me for forgetting to move that piece of fucking onion. It's just sitting there uncut, like an uncircumcised fucking goddamn penis, just right there on top of that pile. It's just uncut as fuck. I can't believe it. That's a good note. That's a good roll on that pepper, though. This is feisty, Will. So just another good hard dice, dude. Like it's not rocket science. I'm not fucking reinventing the wheel here. Like I'm not trying to be Richard Blaise or whoever the fuck it is. I'm not here to suck the the Top Chef teat that he does with Food Network or whatever. I'm not here for that. Good medium dice. We're gonna put this shit in a mason jar. That onion though. I know, dude. It's like a goddamn uncut wiener just laying there on top. Like nobody gave a fuck about it. Like my knife was just like, the end. Fuck you. We're not cutting you. So you stuff your mason jar full. You don't want to leave it too full. You want to cut it to the rim because you got to fill it with liquid. You got to fill it all the way up with liquid. You don't want to fill it above it because if you can, it'll overeat. We'll get into pickling and fermenting and canning. But right now, ultimately, this is a quick pickle. So fill it up to the rim and flip your camera off so that your director knows to stop filming. Another great transition. Thank you. We're going to make pickle juice. This is Chef Will. Big difference than regular Will. Yeah, I know, sister. I'm going to do my best to keep the two separated this go around. Equal parts. Remember, 1 to 1 to 1. It's a super fucking secret. The Culinary Institute of America doesn't want everybody to know for some reason. 1 to 1 to 1. 1 cup water, 1 cup vinegar, 1 cup sugar. The most basic ass fucking pickle juice on the planet. If somebody tells you otherwise, they're just trying to upsell you. They're snake oil salesmen. Fuck them. Tell them to go somewhere else with their peppermint essential oils. To make a pickle juice, you need 1, 1, and 1. Just remember that. 1, 1, and 1. That's it. Dr. Pepper time. When you're seasoning your pickle juice, what's up, Sammy? Thanks for stopping by. Couple things to remember about seasoning your pickle juice. You want to use cracked black pepper or whole black peppercorns. You want to use a good thick granule salt. You don't want to use like an iodized table salt. You want to use a sea salt or a kosher salt if you can, or a pickling salt, even if that's a possibility. So like the bigger granules, you have to look at salt at a certain point in the culinary world where it's salt isn't. This is me checking the oil. Remember, when you get ready to drop your chicken, you want your chicken to be like your oil to be like 325. Himalayan peak sea salt. That's me remembering I needed to put garlic in my pickles. You want your oil to be like 325. Himalayan pink sea salt it's on my list. Like fucking Instagram, bro. Like for some reason, everybody all of a sudden decided pink Himalayan salt is like the shit. Of course, I always have to stop by, and it's the first episode. That's right, Sammy. Delicious as fuck. We're making pickles and fried chicken and turnip greens. So you fill it up with your veggies up to the rim. Take your pickle juice with all your peppercorns and shit. And water occasionally won't kill you, by the way. I'll start making sure I drink water. Checking the oil again because I thought it would be clever. I love pickles. The pickles were fucking delicious too. Me flipping it off because it's still not ready. Nashville hot chicken. When you make hot chicken oil, there's a couple big things. Mostly it's not just cayenne. It is a lot of cayenne, but it's not only cayenne. Lots of seasoned salt, lots of black pepper, all of your garlic, like your garlic, your onion powders, your cumins, and your chili powders, and your paprikas. And you want to get a lot of this together. But the big one is cayenne. A lot of people overkill it with cayenne. Look at all that fucking cat hair. I need a lint roller. That's distracting as fuck. So the important thing is not too much cayenne. And what you want to do is you want to make sure you season it, like get it all together. The other thing is using fryer oil. I took a fucking coffee mug and I dipped that shit into that hot ass Crisco. And then I poured it in there because what you want is you want that oil that's been seasoned already, that's got that chicken grease in it, that's got all of that flavor already in there. And that's what you got to make your Nashville hot chicken oil with. That's the fucking secret of the trade. I don't care if some fucking weird like food mafia tries to come after me. You want to make good fucking Nashville hot chicken, use your goddamn fryer oil. It's not a secret anymore. Write it down. I just said it. Fuck them. This is me dropping fryer in the fryer. What the fuck are these filters, dude? I'm going to remake this video and re-release it. I do not like these filters. Goddamn Premiere Pro messed this all up. What's up, Al? What's up, Al? Hey, what's up? Hey, I'm just chilling. I'm watching me for chicken. Hey, that's cool. Blah, blah, blah. Chicken. Oh, no. I think that's the only time you're in it. So, like, when you're dropping your chicken, remember 325. What you want to do is it takes about 20 minutes. Look, fuck you guys. It takes about 20 minutes to go. You don't want to stir it too much because if you stir it too much, what'll happen is it'll fuck with it and it'll start to break up. Now we're going to plate it. Hot chicken oil. We're going to swirl it around some. So you've got those two things. Some of the important things to remember is like, don't put something on the plate you're not going to fucking eat. So like here, bread, pickles, turnip greens, chicken, like you're going to eat fucking everything on this plate. So take your chicken, roll it around in that hot chicken grease, get it nice and covered. Goddamn right. That's some really good sourdough bread. We got some fucking Costco. It's like French rustic bread or something. It's real tasty. Drizzle that hot chicken grease on top. fire French country loaf. That's what it is. Thank you, Al. The pickles. Yummy pickles. You goddamn right. That looks good. Like that's straight up Nashville hot chicken, just a little bougie because it's all homemade. Like that's the only difference. Like look at that shit. Goddamn right. Fucking delicious. A good looking plate of food. So like the important thing here is like don't overcook your chicken. People are gonna fucking worry about it. They're gonna be real upset. They're gonna be like, "Oh, I don't want it to be raw, so I've got to make sure it's cooked." Like, no, you can eat chicken 160 to 165 is fine. If your chicken's 200, 225, you overcook the fuck out of it. I would let you feed that to me naked. Sorry, not sorry, dude. I would feed you whatever you want naked. Fried chicken, collard greens, pickles, like a hell of a fucking plate of food right there, dog. All I'm saying is couple things to remember is fuck you frying chicken. It's a lot of work, but it's delicious. It's my boy Justin, Zach's brother. He came in, swooped in immediately, was like, I'm eating the shit out of this chicken. He was like, it was good. Fuck you guys. I'm out. So, like, that's pretty much it. Like, when you look at chicken, my point is, like, from beginning to end, it's always been a super viable food in my career. I've cooked a ton of chicken. The way you cook it, I didn't really know what I was going to do here. Like, honestly, it's my first edition. I wanted to kind of go with it to figure out how I was going to run, how long it would run, what I would do with it. Some of my favorite things that I've done with chicken, though, I'll show you a couple real quick before we get ready to sign off. This is what my traditional, like, Nashville fried chicken looks like if I were to serve it. I did this at one of the country clubs I was consulting at. It's fried chicken quarters on straight brioche bread with fucking dill pickles, French fries. This is what it would look like if you went to Prince's and got it. Like 100%. That's what standard ass fried hot like chicken would look like. A cross section of my pickles to give you guys an idea of what they look like. The editing in the video, like I said, I'll learn. This is my first episode. Give me some slack. The pickles you can see there, when you store your pickles long term, flip them over onto the lid so everything floats down. Turn them, as it were, like rotate your pickles every so often, so that way they'll stay fresh in your brine. This is one of my favorites. I did this one. It was a chicken dinner that I was doing. This is KFC. And what I did was, it's called KFC because it's Korean fried chicken. And what I did was I sous vide chicken in brown sugar and teriyaki sauce. And the previous pick, not so much the pickles, whatever. What's up, Sean? I appreciate you stopping by. But I sous vide the chicken wings in brown sugar and soy sauce and a little bit of sesame oil, a fermented chili paste called yuzu koshu. And then I cooled everything down, buttermilk batter, and fried it like you would fried chicken wings, but it had all those rich Korean flavors. It's served with a fried sushi rice cake, homemade kimchi that I used. And when I would make my kimchi, I would do like an inherently southern kimchi to where I would use like collard greens or turnip greens that weren't cooked, that were raw. And I would roll them in the salts and the sugars and all the peppers, and I would ferment them that way. I got really into using like misos and stuff, and I was inoculating black-eyed peas and shit. It got wild there for a little while. It was a lot of fun. A couple more before I get ready to sign off. This is an immersion circulator. I mentioned sous vide cooking earlier. Okay, we need this for the debut of IWG. I'll bring all the food. An immersion circulator, I'll talk about these in other episodes when I talk about different types of cooking methods. An immersion circulator, sous vide cooking, you're pretty much putting everything in a water bath. You're cooking it at a low fixed temp for amount of time, so that way it cooks evenly. It's fucking scientific as shit. But, you know, call me old school, just like my wrestling. I'm going to use a fucking pan with some fat in it, and I'm going to saute the shit out of it. This is handy, though, if you want to get a lot of flavor in a short, condensed point. This is the last one, then I'll get ready to sign off and do my housekeeping notes. The Boom. Hot chicken, pimento cheese, bacon, buttermilk biscuits. Like, I'm going to do pimento cheese in an episode, and I'm going to make a couple different types of pimento cheese and a couple different like things to do with it. But ultimately, you take whatever kind of shredded cheese you want, a little bit of aioli or mayo, some fresh peppers, either pickle them or saute them, however you want to do it. Roast them off, fucking whatever. I don't give a fuck. Just prepare your peppers. Dice them up real fine, mix it together. Looks up flights to where Will is. You can head this way, Bubba. We'll figure it out. So that's it. Look, I can't promise you anything, guys. Like, all I'm going to do is I'm just going to talk about food. I'm going to talk about food. I'm going to tell you how to cook. I'm going to tell you the way I cook, why I cook the way I cook. I'm going to tell you about the places I've cooked, the things that I've eaten. I'm going to tell you about the great food that I eat, the great service that I experience. But I'm also going to evenly tell you about the shitty food that I eat and the shitty experiences that I have, because I think that's equally as important. Because like I said, right now in the culinary world, there's no backbone left. So I'm here to be a backbone in the food journalism world, as it were. Housekeeping notes. If you're here, make sure you hit that follow button, that like button, that subscribe button. Make sure you tell us where you're at. Leave a comment, subscribe, unsubscribe, then subscribe again. You know what I say on Sundays. I'm going to say it again here. It helps the algorithm, right? If you're really into Discord and you want a direct link to me or the other hosts or the rest of the people from Off the Top or Rivet City Radio, click the link in the description. Same thing for merch, angrylemonade.com/bot spots and share shots. All the links stuff is there. Most importantly, specifically for this show, guys, the video that you watched, I'm going to have cut short. So if you want just the turnip green recipe, just the fried chicken recipe, just the pickle recipe or the stock recipe, all of this will be available on Patreon for simply $1. You can't really beat it. I mean, that's pretty fucking solid. You can cook some damn good chicken, but your barbecue is to die for. I appreciate the shit out of that, sister. I'm going to do a totally different episode for barbecue coming up very soon, and it's going to involve getting drunk overnight with a smoker and my buddy Zach filming me. So it'll be a ton of fun when I do the barbecue episode. I might need friends for that one to keep me up all night. As I say here and think about it, like, I really don't have anything else for the class. I'm going to do some editing. The next video will be better. It'll be a lot better, actually. Needs unlimited income to hire Will as personal cook. And look, man, everybody's got a price, brother. $20 is $20, my guy. I ain't even scared to admit it. I don't really have too much for the class. That makes me want November to come faster. You want November to come fast as fuck so you can come fast as fuck. Ayo, Tommy. That's it, guys. I'm out of things to say. I'm going to do the thing. Before I go, though, most importantly, here in about 10 minutes, as soon as this main event on NXT is over, head over to Off the Top Media. Our boy Scowls, our boy Jax, they're going to be going with NXT on tap. Then right back here at 10 p.m. Central Time tonight when they wrap up, me and Big Mike, the Belt Collector, are going to be rolling with Botch Spots and Share Shots After Dark. We're going to be talking about the career of Test. Tomorrow is Wednesday, so you know what that means. AEW Dynamite's on, and the Boom with Cam G. Thursday is the Boss Bitch herself with the Boss Bitch Trivia Hour. That's always a fucking blast. We're looking to book up the next few weeks of trivia. Anybody in the chat, you're interested in coming on for trivia, make sure you give us a holler and let us know. And then, you know, we get into Friday and Saturday. We get into the FNRs and the Princess Movies Madness and all of that. And then we'll start over on Sundays. Rivet City Red Zone, Botch Spots and Share Shots, Table Spot. We've got so much good content, and it's not just wrestling anymore. So that's it, guys. Remember, friends, it doesn't matter anything. Fucking none of it matters. If it's fried, if it's healthy, if it's grilled, or if it's baked. The only thing that matters is if it's fucking delicious. Wait, the only thing that matters is if it's delicious as fuck. I messed up the punchline. There we have it. The only thing that matters is if it's delicious as fuck. Boom. Bada bing, bada boom.